The Winter's Tale, one of Shakespeare's great classics, written in 1611, just 5 years before his death, is as popular today as it was back then. Class Act Theatre are presenting this classic, which marks the 400th anniversary since the death of Shakespeare. It's coming to the North Coast Town Hall on June the 5th. On the line I do have Stephen waiting for us, and Stephen Leigh is a Western Australian. He's over here doing a few things with us. We're going to find out a little bit more about him as time goes on, and he's online waiting for us right now. Stephen, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Lee.
Nice to have you with us, Stephen. Thanks for heading on air with us here at 97.7 FM today. Originally from London, you travelled out to Australia. Why?
Well, my parents had all decided to emigrate about 15 years before, and they kept sort of giving me grief about living in England where they were all in Australia. So in the end, I just up sticks, and about 12, 13 years ago, I moved over. You
came over. Well, you did a lot of work in Western Australia. You performed in so many productions over there. Look, as well as in England, you're at West End, of course, and performed quite a lot on stage there. What got you into acting in the first place over there?
Well, strangely enough, my best friend, when I was at high school, went up to university and decided he wanted to start acting. And because I could never let him do anything that I didn't try either, I started acting, and then I got bitten so much by the bug that 40-odd years later, I'm still doing it.
Isn't that beautiful? That's a lovely story. You didn't want to be outdone. That's really, yeah, really, really good. So you're over here in Victoria now, and you're still based in Perth, as I understand it. Is it right?
That's correct, yes. I'm just coming over here for about sort of 6 weeks to direct the play.
It's going to be a wonderful play because it's one of Shakespeare's greats, and of course 400 years since his death. It's quite timely that it's being revived now. The Winter's Tale now is coming to the Northcote Town Hall. Tell me something about your directing, because from being an actor to a director, is that a huge change in your life?
Well, it's a bit strange for me because I started directing very early. Sometimes people do that very late in their career. But no, I got into directing quite early, and I discovered directing's brilliant because you don't just play one part, you play every part, and it's great.
You acted in The Elephant Man too, I noticed on your bio.
I did.
That must have been fantastic, yes. It must have been fantastic doing that.
Yes, I didn't get, sadly, to play the Elephant Man himself, but I was playing the kind of crooked carnival man who exploited him. Yeah. And it was very, very good fun. And because, of course, so many people have seen the film, they came knowing a bit about the play.
Stephen, it's a powerful movie, isn't it? Very, very powerful. How did you find the audience took that when it was on stage?
Well, sadly, in the play, he doesn't actually wear any makeup. They just describe and show some photos, but he just plays it normally. And I've got the feeling many of the audience were very disappointed we didn't do a 4.5-hour makeup every performance.
Wow, 4.5-hour makeup. That's huge.
Well, that's what they did for
in the movie.
John Hurt in the movie.
Yes, I remember that. Tell me about The Winter's Tale. Now, this is one of Shakespeare's greats, written, 5 years before his death. How come you presented this one, not others? Tell me how it came about.
Well, so many of the plays are done and done and done and done, and everybody knows King Lear, Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet. So we wanted to do a play that was less done, but is still really a powerful and beautiful play. And the reason we chose Winter's Tale is it's coming quite late, as you said, in his career, when he's writing at his best. But he's writing much more mellow. It's not a play where everybody dies, if I'm not giving too much away.
Right.
But it's a play about redemption and understanding and reconciliation.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit about his wife had an affair, hadn't she, and had a child, and
that's right. It's about a king who suspects his wife is having an affair with his best friend, totally unfairly. Yeah. But then he absolutely goes mad with it. And as I try to say to the cast, in a way, it's a fairy tale. It's like once upon a time there was a jealous king, and then you follow it through and see. And it follows it through 16 years of action up until when everything gets resolved.
And Stephen, are you following the original language, or have you updated it all for the 20th century?
No. I think unless you're as good a writer as Shakespeare, and trust me, I'm not, you can't really update Shakespeare without weakening or making it worse.
Yes.
But it is, I think people make a big fuss about how hard Shakespeare can be. If the actors know what they're doing and they understand it, really it's not that difficult. I mean, we're still performing in 400 years later, and there must be a reason. You know?
So how do you go about that with your actors then? You're using the original dialogue. How do you train your actors to do exactly what you want them to do and to get that message across? You know, you must wield a stick, do you?
No, you trick them.
Do you?
You tell them that all their ideas are brilliant, even though you actually suggested half of them. I don't really want to say this. My actors will all be up in arms. No, actors put a huge amount in, and so many of the actors I've actually got done a lot of Shakespeare. They're very experienced, and they're telling me what half of the lines mean. So. In point of fact, I'm very lucky. I've got a lot of very good people in this. It is a magical play, and it's one that people don't see as often as you would see Hamlet. So
no, that's right.
It's one that's worth getting out to see.
Oh, absolutely. Now, it's coming to Northcote. It's not a bad space, that town hall. Have you been inside and had a look?
I have. We've been rehearsing there. It's an absolutely lovely area. It reminds me more of London than anywhere I've been in Australia. The whole area is gorgeous. The Northcote Town Hall is a beautiful setting.
Yes, it is.
I'm actually been very privileged to have a chance to come and do this over here.
It is a nice space, and even the acoustics of the Town Hall, which is quite old these days, the acoustics are really good for something that you're doing.
Yes, we're lucky, of course, not to be in the absolutely enormous main hall, which would be difficult. But we're in one of the smaller studio spaces, and it's lovely. It's just right for the play we're putting on.
Yes, they do.
And it means that you're not sitting, 30 metres back, hardly able to see anything. Everyone has got very close up. There's only about 120 seats in the space.
Stephen, that's one of the things I like about Victoria. We're known as the arts capital of Australia here, and we've got so many small spaces like this which become a very, very intimate theatre. And I think that intimacy helps the actors get the message across quite well. I
do too, and I think you guys are so lucky. Since I've come over here, I've seen so much theatre and so much is going on. Coming from Perth, which is a gorgeous place. I love Perth to death, but it's not as artistically alive as you're here in Melbourne.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with you. What's next after this production for you when you go back home?
I have to go back and start directing some plays to go around schools, which is kind of my bread and butter. And then I'm almost certainly going to be directing a pantomime for Christmas. I do very much the old British pantomime, which I love doing.
Stephen, you've made my day. I'm 69 years of age. I grew up with pantomime here in Australia. And one of the saddest things today is we do not have pantomime. I know you do over in England, and it's very, very big even now. And I think our kids today lose that introduction to theatre that you got, or I got, through pantomime. I'm so pleased that you just said that. Can you bring that to Melbourne?
I would so love to. I think that the English pantomime, with all the booing and the hissing and all the audience joining in, is one of the most wonderful theatre forms, and it's still pretty much as the same as today as it was 300 years ago.
You know, I don't know why we dropped it out here. I don't know what happened, but Dick Whittington and his cat and all of those, it was wonderful. You know, you had the guys dressed as women, the women as men, and, you would go hissing, he's around the curtain, there he is.
Yep. All the same things.
Yes.
In fact, funnily enough, just last year, I did Dick Whittington down in Bustleton.
Oh, did
and
you?
it was just fabulous. And we had all of that, and we had the dame played by a man and the principal boy. It's wonderful. And I will do everything I can to keep it alive because I think it's a fabulous tradition.
Stephen, you should be talking to your publicist, Linda Buckley, about this because somehow we've got to get pantomime back into Melbourne, Sydney perhaps, but Melbourne being the arts capital, because our kids need to grow up this way. This is how I was introduced into the arts, and for me it was just sensational. I congratulate you on that alone, let alone The Winter's Tale. I just think you've made my day by saying the pantomime.
Well, look, to me, I love all forms of theatre, and if we can get just kids coming and booing and hissing, and then they might go on to see other things, that's right. Fabulous.
That's 100%, I'm with you. The Winter's Tale coming at the Northcote Town Hall. It commences on the 1st of June, runs till the 11th, and directed by this wonderful man, Stephen Leigh. Stephen, thank you very, very much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and all the best with that and the pantomime.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Lee.
Take care, pal. Bye-bye to you.
Bye.
Here's a grab of what that play, The Winter's Tale, is about.
Give me the boy! I'm glad you did not nurse him. Though he does bear some signs of me, yet you have too much blood in him.
What is this, sport?
Bear the boy hence. He shall not come about her. Away with him, and let her sport herself with that she's big with. For 'tis Polixenes hath made thee swell thus.
But I'd say he had not. And I'll be sworn you would believe my saying, howe'er you lean to the neighbour.
You, my lords, look on her, mark her well. Be but about to say, she is a goodly lady, and the justice of your hearts will there to add, 'tis pity she's not honest.